In Japan, they have a word for it: hikikomori. Over 1 million young men who stopped leaving their rooms. In South Korea, an entire generation is quietly surrendering, not just dating and marriage, but the idea that the world has a place for them at all. And in Scandinavia, the happiest countries on earth with the strongest welfare systems money can build, young men are dying at rates that don't match the brochure. 3 different cultures, 3 different economies, 3 different words for the same silence. This isn't a cultural problem. It's a structural one, and it's everywhere. So what is that silence actually, and why does it keep finding men? It starts early. Before a boy can name what's happening, the shaping has already begun. Not through speeches, through small corrections, a scraped knee handled without tears, a flash of fear redirected into action. Man up. Handle it yourself. Boys don't cry. These aren't instructions. They're architecture. Walls built inside a person before he's old enough to know walls are being built. By the time he's an adult, it's not that he doesn't feel things. It's that he was never given the language to say them. There's a difference, a real one. And what that costs, the evidence is quiet but relentless. In 1990, 3% of men reported having 0 close friends. Today, that number is 15%. A 5-fold increase, 1 generation. Men with 6 or more close friends dropped from 55% to 27% over that same period. Sit with that for a second. Think about a man you know, maybe yourself, and actually count the people he'd call at midnight if something went wrong. Not text, call. Men's friendships were never really built on conversation. They were built on presence, on doing things side by side, sports, work, a shared project, a regular table at the same pub on the same night every week. Remove the activity, and often the friendship disappears with it. Which is why this number hits differently. 74% of men say they'd turn to a spouse or partner first for emotional support. If they don't have one, they often turn to no one at all. But here's the thing. This wasn't inevitable. It was built. Robert Putnam spent years documenting what he called the collapse of civic infrastructure. The pubs, the union halls, the bowling leagues, the barber shops, the local churches, all the third places where men used to build bonds without ever having to announce that's what they were doing. Connection happened as a byproduct of just showing up. Then those spaces disappeared. And when remote work arrived, it quietly dismantled the last remaining accidental daily community that millions of men had, the office. The place they didn't even realize was holding them together until it was gone. What that leaves is a particular kind of cruelty. Society now tells men to be vulnerable, but it hasn't built anywhere safe to actually do it. Vulnerability requires trust. Trust requires repeated low-stakes contact over time. That's exactly what third places used to generate. Without anyone trying, without anyone even noticing. Now that infrastructure is gone, and men are left holding instructions for a room that's already been demolished. Into that gap step algorithmically amplified voices selling certainty, alpha male content, red pill ideology, rage dressed up as wisdom. These aren't creating lonely men, they're finding them. A man scrolling at 2 a.m. doesn't need an ideology. He needs someone to actually ask how he's doing. And when no one does, the body starts keeping score. Men are diagnosed with depression at far lower rates than women, not because they feel it less, but because they don't present, don't disclose, don't ask. And so the gap between diagnosis and outcome becomes a quiet catastrophe. Men die by suicide at 4 times the rate of women. They're 3.3 times more likely to die from what researchers now call deaths of despair. Suicide, overdose, alcohol-related illness, low diagnosis rates, catastrophic death rates. That gap is where millions of men are quietly disappearing. And if you think this is a Western problem, the world will correct you. Japan appointed a minister for social isolation and loneliness in 2021, then passed a national loneliness law in 2024. The most collectivist culture on Earth, a society architecturally designed around group belonging, watched its hikikomori population nearly triple between 2016 and 2022, reaching 1.46 million people. If community-oriented culture could protect men, Japan would be protected. It isn't. South Korea has the technology, the education, the economic growth. It also has young people surrendering relationships, marriage, entire futures, not from apathy, but from a quiet calculation that showing vulnerability in a hyper-competitive society is career-ending. The sampo generation didn't give up. They withdrew. There's a difference there too. Scandinavia has the strongest welfare systems ever built. Universal health care, real economic security, and still, elevated suicide rates among young men. If policy alone could fix this, Scandinavia would have fixed it. It hasn't. Because the problem isn't poverty or healthcare access or culture. 3 countries. No shared language, no shared economy, no shared values. All 3 watching their young men vanish into the same silence. That is not coincidence. That is a design flaw in modern life itself. Cortisol doesn't care about stoicism. The immune system doesn't respect silence. He won't say he's lonely. His body already has, so what actually changes? Japan has its minister. The WHO is now addressing male isolation directly. Men's groups and community programs are quietly growing in places you wouldn't expect. Small, real, imperfect. At the individual level, the answer isn't to make men talk like women talk. It's to rebuild the conditions where men can connect the way men actually connect, walking beside someone, building something, showing up consistently, over time, without making it a big deal. Silence is not strength, and asking for help is not weakness. Sometimes the hardest thing a man can do is say, "I'm not okay," out loud to someone who's actually listening. Men were not built to disappear. They were built to belong. And belonging starts with one terrifying, necessary act: opening your mouth and telling someone the truth. We've spent 4 videos looking at the wound. Next, we look at what heals it. The science of how to be alone without being lonely. Subscribe so you don't miss it.